look dark in here. Need more lighting. Shit.
Don't cuss.
Ugh.
You're live. You pushed the button already.
Oh, okay.
Just was saying. Hello, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, there you go. There's the light. I see the light.
You see the light? Okay.
I see the light, boo.
Hold on.
It's shining on you.
It's really shining on me. That's the problem.
You're going to be hot in a minute from the light shining on you.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Okay.
Oh, I need to hit live chat.
Kids ready. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Hey, everybody in the chat. How you doing? Hey, Real Mamas. Candidly V. Hey, Say with Fifi in Mississippi. I'm Bothered Mimi. How you doing? Shanita. So we just waiting on Andrea. She just having a couple technicalities she's trying to work out over at her house. I'm over at my house. And this was just a live that she wanted to do to talk about some of the things that she has experienced and stuff as far as church, I believe, in the Black church and being a woman in the church. And I believe that herself and another great content creator by the name of Shanita Marie Randomly. She's awesome. She's almost to be monetized with, I want to say less than 1,500 more hours that she needs to be monetized. So go over there and check her out if you haven't already. Like and subscribe to her channel. She's awesome. But she is Andrea's guest today on the channel. There you go. We got you back.
Shoot, man. Just had it. Okay, I put the link in the chat, Shanita. So the link is in the chat for you, Shanita.
Hey, Triple C and Joe are here. Hey, how you doing? I gotta get back over there with Triple C and them. They be having me cracking up. And I gotta hook up, don't let me forget, I gotta hook up my mom's thing so she can do the crafts and stuff with Triple C, because you know Eleanor be over there doing that all day.
Yes.
Logic. Hey, Logic. I'm sorry, Andrea. Go ahead.
How is every day? Damn, my girl right there. Now let's see. Oh, no, that's wrong. Let me do this right. Oh Lord. Okay. Hold on. I did this right a minute ago, Lord Jesus. I'm having some technical deals, please. That is the truth.
Oh. Hi.
Hi.
I was getting ready to go off on Logic in the chat because he always starting something. So I was like,
He always starts. So you look beautiful tonight, Shanita. How you doing? Tomorrow's your birthday, girl. Tomorrow's your birthday.
I know. Somebody told me.
So we want to make sure we put birthday candles in the chat for Shanita. Okay. And I make sure I put your channel in the chat so everybody can go to share and subscribe. And one more thing. And I want everybody who's in my chat to go subscribe to Real Mama's Real Problem, because she's almost at her 1,000.
Yes.
50 subscribers. So please share, subscribe to her channel. We're trying to get her to her 1,000. So we can have.
She uploads constant content all the time. Her content is amazing. Some of it is sexy and sultry and real nice and grown up. You know what I'm saying? She has some good content.
So, Shanita, Miranda, girl, I want you to tell everybody about your channel and what your channel is about.
Well, as everyone said, I am Shanita Marie randomly. My channel is what the name says, it's random. Some days I may do some impressions. No, not impressions, impersonations. Some days I may do some impersonations. Some videos may be some reaction videos. Some may be of me telling my personal life. Some videos may be about me vlogging, challenges, fashion, whatever random is. My life is random, so therefore it's only fitting for my channel to be named Shanita Marie Randomly.
Oh, okay. So what
we have so much fun in my channel.
So what some of the negatives you have experienced on YouTube? Because you know we don't experience some negative stuff.
You know, when I first started, but when I started to get my footing in YouTube, I noticed that some people you can't make your friends on YouTube. People are trying to copy the things that you're doing, or they only want to be with you to get whatever they can get out of you. Sometimes you can find yourself in the wrong communities and be hooked up with the wrong people. Sometimes you find people who don't want to support you and say that they do. It's too much. And then YouTube itself, trying to get these hours and trying to get these subscribers and all of the ups and downs that YouTube has been doing with the glitching and the not having people subscribe and taking your subscribers away and all of that stuff. But I have enjoyed the journey. I am
turning my phone off because I don't want to be disturbed. So hold on a minute, Shanita. Okay, I'm turning my phone off. Okay, I don't want to be disturbed. Okay, so what is the highlight of being on YouTube?
The highlight of being on YouTube is I have met some amazing people. I'm a people person, as y'all can tell. But
as we can tell,
I love to hang out, I love to have fun. So the highlights of YouTube is first the content creators that I've met. I've met some amazing people like you, like Erica. I had my girls, Candidly V, Robin 101, Nurse T, Kicking It with Ned, Saving with Fifi in Mississippi. Who else? And I've also met some of the fellows. I'm not gonna name them because I don't like them. No, I'm just playing. So Real Talk 87. Real Talk 87, YouTube TV, Harrison Family Vlogs. That's my YouTube husband. That's my work husband. You know, some others, Greenville, Mississippi.
What's up with you in Greenville? I thought y'all was cool there.
It's a struggle.
It's a struggle. Greenville, don't miss it sometimes.
Do not feel bad.
I Am Content. That's another one. I Am Content.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people. Yeah, and being on YouTube allowed me to be as creative as I want to be. On my channel, it allows me to kind of branch out and kind of explore different things. So that was my highlights. I really enjoyed the journey.
Okay. So I met you through I seen you over there in Real Talk 87 chat. And so I subscribed to your channel, and that's why I met you and Candidly V, and And I told Erica, y'all was cool. We should go over there and check y'all out. And I've been catching your morning lives in the morning because I'm in California, you in Florida, so I catch your lives like 3 or 4 hours later. But man, you funny, Shanita. Man, you're
Shanita is hecka funny. I'm sorry.
funny. You
Shanita
funny.
cracks me up, but
Yes.
real at the same time.
Yes. I was
I'm
listening.
so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm doing something.
It's
But
Don't
okay.
be.
We got technical difficulties over this house too.
Don't be.
It's okay. But I was listening to your car chronicles in the morning when you was driving, and I was listening to your domestic violence situation. I was listening to the church situation, and I was like, damn, that's why I wrote you, because I was like, Shanita, if I that's somebody I'll kick it with, because she a fun, happy person, but you don't been through some shit. You don't you put it out there, let everybody know. And I was like, man, that's some of the stuff that I don't been through, but I ain't got bold of it to tell everybody. But I was like, okay, if Shanita can tell, I can tell. And I love your rainbow, because I show with the rainbow and got me a couple outfits. So I love your rainbow.
I did. I seen your rainbow thing. I was like, Andrea, guess who got a rainbow haul on their channel?
Yeah, so we went to rainbow and butter club and rainbow. So, but I resonate because the part with the church and your comedy and how you so confident in who you are and what you're about, man. Shanita, you the bomb, man. Sister, you're doing it, and I'm so proud of you. But I wanted to have this conversation because I think in some way the church hurt Black women, and I wanted to ask you this question because I think in some ways we are the women who get hurt, and we are the women who be there and they're giving our tithes, praising the Lord, and then we get hurt in the church. And so when you were saying somebody put you out, you was questioning them, and I was like, that's how I was coming up. My mom was like, keep your mouth shut, you can't say nothing. And I was like, I want to have this conversation. And honey, it took me 2 hours to put this live up. I was nervous. I was like,
it was her first time ever.
I'm doing all of this. I was like, damn it, I wanted to be right for Shanita because it gotta go off like a hit.
She been working on this all week, girl. She put some love into this.
I wanted.
Wow.
I was like, I called Real Mamas and Unbound Me. I said, it's gotta be right for Shanita. It's got to be right for Shanita. So I've been working on this.
You do live all the time.
I know, but girl, I got Erica then, I got Real Mama, I got people give me this
right
time that I had to think about, and I had a lot of help from people who was like helping me with this, because this right here is the most important conversation for me on It's Our Air, because this is something that hits close to home. This is something that I don't been through, and since I found somebody else who don't been through the similar situation, I want to talk about it and let everybody see. And I don't think we have these conversations enough. Black women, we don't really talk. We tell each other our feelings, and we tell our girlfriends our feelings, but we don't have these conversations with a lot of Black women. I think we try to protect a lot of people all the time. And me, I protect my mother because I know how the church get down. Okay, so she's not here, and my daddy's a big boy. He can say what he want to say. So ain't no repercussions no more. So I'm free to talk about what I want to talk about. So yeah. So what okay, I had a question in my head. Okay, get my head right. What part of church were you at?
So,
how old you started going to church?
All my life. So I was born in the church.
Okay.
Yeah. I finally left the church at the age of 30. So I've been out of church for 6 years now. I was with Church and God in Christ. That's non-denominational. COGIC, which is the acronym for Church and God in Christ.
Okay.
Non-denominational, if some of y'all don't know what that is. Church and God in Christ is like a sophisticated Baptist church. If you don't know what COGIC is, there's a lot of rules, a lot of stipulations, and the reason why I say it's like a sophisticated Baptist church, because a lot of things that happen in the Baptist church doesn't really happen. Well, no, it happens, in
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
Church of God in Christ. It's just not as exposed
Oh yeah.
as it is in the Baptist church.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that Seventh-day Adventists have the similar things going on in their churches too. Um, but yeah, that's where the denomination comes from. So Christian, I guess, is what they practice. Yeah, Christianity.
Okay. And your mom and dad was a part of the church?
Yeah. So my dad he's now a pastor of his own church. My
Okay.
mom is an evangelist of that church. She actually was kind of back and forth between two churches. One was a white church, another one was the church that she kind of grew up in as well. They were active in the church. My mom was in the choir. My dad was like a deacon, and
Mm-hmm.
then she finally graduated to evangelist. Um, they were heavy into the church. Then my dad decided to go and get his own church, so he's been doing all of that. All of my dad's side of the family are heavy in the church, so I had no choice but to be in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Cousins, aunties, uncles. My uncle had a church. My actually, I have two uncles who have churches, so they have churches. Their children are in the church. And they all play instruments. And they all are singing, and we all are. We're all musically inclined. Either some of us sing, some of us play an instrument, some of us dance. We all do it, but we're just not together. That's another
Maybe
why
that's where you get your entertainment little. You
Yes.
know what I mean? You're not
Entertainment.
yeah,
afraid to put it out there and get up in front of people and stuff. A lot of people in entertainment started writing their own churches.
yeah. A lot of people started churches. I'm one of them. I don't know why I hadn't got out there yet though to do something. But I guess maybe YouTube will be this
You
platform
out
for
here.
me.
I was about to say you out here
I mean, I'm out here,
doing
but I
doing
ain't gonna. Yeah,
parodies and all kinds of stuff, and you great at it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, I'm talking about like big dog, A-list celebrities type.
You
You
big to you're a big dog to us, girl.
So, so,
know.
so when did you feel like you started not liking some of the things going on in the church?
When I was a teenager.
Uh-huh.
So I was in the choir.
Yeah.
Okay, and I
Me
talked
too.
about that on my
Quiet
channel.
too. I hated
Yeah.
quiet.
So, girl,
There's
so
too
I
many,
started off.
too many quiet practices.
I didn't
Said
mind
too
choir
many
practices.
practices.
I did because I love to sing, so I didn't mind the practice. Like, that choir practice for me was like therapy for me because it allowed me to sing out all the frustrations of the day and continue on with the rest of my week. So that was fine. What I didn't like was the Sunshine Band.
Uh-huh.
I don't like all the kid songs. Give me all the big adult songs that we can sing. But
Okay.
as I began to come of age,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 12 or 13. And also too, it was my parents. They were going through their divorce, and that was a whole other thing that I talked about on my in my channel too. My parents was going through their divorce, and I just started to think about a lot of different stuff. And I had a bunch of why questions,
Mm-hmm.
but the why questions were not answered. And
Okay.
it was always, you don't question God, or
Yep.
I never liked that answer because for me, if I ask you a question, I need
I want
a
to
clear
answer.
answer.
Right.
Don't give
That
me no little
non-answer answer.
right. Don't
Not
give
an
me no
answer.
little
My mom was like, "Don't be asking me no questions because I don't want to answer them." They were like, "Do what I say," but there's all that mess, and so I feel you.
yeah,
I started questioning when I was like 15 because
yeah,
they had so many rules. They made wear a long top. You got to cover your behind. I don't understand that thing. That you wear you can't wear no short dresses. You can't wear shorts. It's hot out here, okay? And they had a lot of rules. You had to date the guys in the church, and half of them I didn't like, and weren't cute to me. And so
right.
they had so many rules that my friends were at school like, let's go to the dance. I would be lying saying, "Mama, I got after school, I need help with my math assignment." I'll be at the dance lying, just lying, okay? Just make me a lie about something. So
Yeah.
You know, they had so many rules, and we couldn't hang out with the people at go to school with, because they was like, mama's like, them some fast girls, they having sex, they doing that, them girls mamas ain't making them do right. And I was like, mama, but they just like us. She's like, I don't care.
Couldn't do nothing.
Couldn't do nothing.
When we had, so for us, they would separate our Bible study nights. So, I mean, of course, because we're teenagers. So it'll be teenagers, then it'll be like the adolescents, then it's the babies, and then it's the young adults, and then it's the older adults. Everybody had their own like little Bible study session. And we had this, God bless the dead because she just died, but we had this youth leader who everybody was kind of, I don't know, maybe intimidated by her or something, but she just like preached the gospel. She preached it so hard, but she preached it in a way that it was like, do this or you're going to hell.
Yes.
And that's the way church is, you know, you're going to hell if you don't do this. You're going to hell if you don't do this. If you can be good all your life, but if you didn't accept Jesus as Jesus Christ, your personal savior, you're going to hell. Like, how though? Like, you mean to tell me I did all of these good deeds?
Right.
Still, maybe told a white lie here and there, but because I'm not saved, I'm going to hell?
Right.
Really? So just a lot of stuff like that didn't make sense. So I just was asking questions. Granted, how y'all hear me ask questions now, like to the fellas when we be on Battle of the Sexes with Kendall.
They don't like that because we us, because they be like, didn't y'all ask me the same question? And I think we got that because our parents told us no. They kept ask questions, so they get mad because I was like, I want clarification. Explain it to me, break it down to me. They get mad when I say that.
They get you're like, I'm just asking the question. I'm like, I know for me, I can be real narky sometimes. Maybe it's a little too sarcastic, and that probably can get like how y'all see me now is who I am. But being a teenager, it was like, okay, you're being disrespectful, which in a way I was because I was a teenager. But I was like asking legitimate questions, and they were like, no, the devil has your mind. You're asking too many questions. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're asking. Let's pray for you. And I remember that vividly. There was this one night where we was in our youth Bible study, and I just refused to accept anything that they were telling me because it just was not making sense. And they stopped the Bible study early to have a prayer just for me.
Oh, wow.
Just for me. This is just to tell God to cast out any demons, to clear out whatever that's in her mind, pray for her family, because my mom and dad was going through a divorce, and maybe they're thinking that maybe I had that going on. But it was like, no, and I didn't, when I left after the prayer, like they were in a good service, like not good service, but they were like thick in the conversation. And they just stopped everything because I kept asking the questions. And it wasn't nothing that nobody else who didn't understand would understand, but they were just really crying out to God and all of this stuff. And I'm like, really? Like,
right.
Like, I'm really not trying to be a sinner or trying to backslide or anything like that. I'm just really trying to understand because it's really not making sense. Why is it so hard for y'all to understand that what y'all telling me is not making sense? But to them, the devil had my mind, blocking my judgment and all of this stuff. And so they went and told my mom about it. She wanted to have a prayer for me and bless my house, bless my room and all of this shit. And I'm like,
what?
So it kind of made me like fall back because I'm like, all right, so now I see it. I'm not allowed to ask questions. I'm not allowed to have my own opinions about anything. It's best for me just to be quiet. And I was doing that for a good long while because in the church, if you don't believe what you're supposed to believe or go along with what they say you're supposed to go along with, then you're shunned. Nobody wants to talk to you.
Yes. Yes.
And being a teenager, I'm still looking for that acceptance. I'm still looking for that acceptance. So I was like, okay, let me just be quiet. Let me just pray like I'm supposed to pray. Let me read my Bible like I'm supposed to read my Bible. Let me have these godly friendships. And
And I mean, I have been said my own mother have been called had a devil in her. They had a women's meeting on her. Yeah, yes, had women's meeting on her. They shunned her. I ain't never forgot that. Never forgot that shit. Okay, excuse my language, but I never forgot how the women in the church. And this is why I have I'm not really close to a lot of women, and I value my relationship with women because I've seen how the women with church women act to other church women. They will tear you down, but they call themselves Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'll be like
Judging.
I can't stand church
Mm-hmm.
folks. When my
Out
friends,
there judging like they wearing a robe with a gavel.
I can't stand church folks.
Right.
Always they so condescending. They're so rude and standing in judgment, and yet and still you call yourself a Christian. Ain't you supposed to forgive?
Right.
And you know, I was like, man, I was like, I didn't like it, and when I got up out of there, I never looked back since. Okay, I left.
Right.
I left the church at 22. I was supposed to get married. My dad, I was supposed to marry my ex-husband. My dad was like, I couldn't marry him because him and the pastor fell out. My daddy and the pastor fell out. Okay, so my daddy said, "You can't marry him." I said, "Oh no, I'm getting out of here with you and mama." And yeah, so my mom gave me my birth certificate, my social security card, and she said, "I will never talk to you again." I left the church at 22, and the pastor said, "I'm gonna love my family. I ain't never forget this." It was told to me because my sister-in-law was in the church. She said, he gonna love his family, wrong or right. He's staying with his family. And I told my mama, I'm gonna stand with mine, wrong or right. Period.
Do you think with that type of judgment that the church is breaking those beliefs in church are breaking families down and creating division within family units?
Yes.
I believe so. Matter of fact, when I was married, my husband at the time, he was, I'm full of divorce. I'm just going to put that out there. My husband at the time, he was in Iraq, and he was like, and he would call and check up on me, see how I'm doing and all of that stuff, and we have our conversations. But every time he would call me, I was like busy doing church stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was either at choir rehearsal, well, at the time it was praise team rehearsal, because I hadn't graduated from the choir and joined the praise team. That was the whole thing. But praise team rehearsal, I was at dance rehearsal, I was at Bible study, I was at church on Sundays. I think the only free day that I had was, let's see, Monday, because Friday night we had church. So Mondays and Saturdays were like my only free days. So I had no time to really be home because I'm always at the church. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Well, when are you gonna be home and do something with my family, or when are you gonna stay home and clean up the house?" Not that my house was a mess, but dishes will pile up because I'm never home. I do no time without washing my clothes because I'm always at church. So I'm either buying more clothes and not washing the clothes that I have, just spending more money on top of every time we went to church, they was asking for an offering.
Girl,
putting money in the church constantly.
Money.
The church fund.
So he's like, "Well, you're not doing nothing for your house. You're not doing nothing for your family." So it was like bringing a division, because I'm like, I'm not going to stop doing anything for the church. I'm going to do what I got to do for God first. He's like, "No, you're not doing that for God. You're doing something for that church. You ain't doing that for God. You can do all that stuff for God at home." And I'm like, "Oh, no, you just don't understand. So it brought like a division because I was just so dedicated to church and not to my spiritual life. But I'm thinking church is my spirit. Is one and the same. I wasn't making that separation like, okay, this is church. Yes. This is my obligation. And then this is my spirit life. I didn't.
So your husband wasn't a part of the church that you were a part of?
Not that church. He grew up in church as well. And he had a Christian background. I don't know what type of time he's on now. But he had a Christian background. Mm-hmm. He just
but it wasn't like your active. Church.
Right. And he wasn't as active. He'll go maybe on a Sunday, maybe, but He'll say
But
that's his
clearly
church
he
home, but
wasn't
he'll do
clearly as a either as a man or as belonging to a different type of church, he wasn't shunned because he wasn't showing up or giving out. So he didn't have an understanding of what you were going through, having to almost choose between church and your family or him and your husband and your household.
Mhm.
Andrea, you married somebody who you grew up with. He grew up in your church with you,
Mhm. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Um, but y'all, his family had left,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then when y'all got married, you chose to leave as well.
Yes. Oh, I chose to leave that night. My dad said I couldn't marry him. I said, I'm getting the hell out of here with your mama. I love
It's
y'all.
my ticket.
I'm
That's
getting
a
the hell
one-way
out of here.
ticket.
That was one way to get. I was like, I got to get. I'm out.
Georgia.
You know, I left that night. I left that night. We got married because we stopped off at mom and daddy house, and they don't know what they said. Black folks always want to tell the kids don't get married. Why is that? And so mom and daddy was like, y'all got to go get married because you can't stay here.
Can't sleep in here without being having a union.
I'm like, move in with them. I tell my kids, just move in. Don't get married. just move
Don't.
Try it
in.
out like a pair. Try them on like a pair of
But
shoes.
my mom was like, no shacking up, no babies, and if you have a baby, you'll get kicked out of the house. And my twin sister, she was already married a year, and so I was the only girl still at home. I was like, I'm getting the hell out of you, mama, because they was controlling. As innocent, I was like 19. I had to bring my check home. I was 19. You could tell me what to wear. I was 19. I couldn't wear no blonde weave. I was like, this is crazy. I was 19. You tell me who my friends are. I was 19 and they was controlling. I couldn't know how to drive. I had one of my best friends at my job. She was teaching me how to drive. We was getting up out of there, mama. So she was teaching me how to drive. So they were controlling every aspect of my life, my clothes, my hair, on down to my friends. And so I was like, I gotta get out of here. And the only way they said I could move out of their house if I get married. I was like, okay.
That's it. That's all I gotta do.
All I gotta do is
I got a prospect. There's a train coming tonight. Drea had a suitcase packed.
So me and him broke up. Okay, me and him broke up in the church, and we broke up, and we didn't tell nobody we broke up, but we went on a Disneyland because that's where the church go every damn summer. It's damn Disneyland, and that shit is cute, but it's not. Okay, so we go to Disneyland. And so me and the girls of the church, some of these girls think it was my friend, which they know they wasn't, but they was like, we ain't gonna be talking to him. We ain't gonna be hanging out with him. I said, okay. I heard the girls. They got a Disneyland. It was all up on him. I was like, oh hell no. And that's when I started trusting. You can't trust a bunch of women, okay? So when I got back home, I was like, let's work it out. And so the pastor daughter gonna say, did you ask my daddy? I said, no. Did you ask mine? Because mine know about it. And so the pastor daughter was the choir director. I couldn't stand her ass. And to the day, I still cuss her ass out because I can't stand the woman and ain't gonna never like the woman and can't stand her at all. I cussed her ass out and her damn mama. Okay? Shoot. And I told him,
hey,
you can't control my life. I got kids now. I'm grown. I can say what the hell I want to say. And I cuss their asses out. Okay? I use every cuss word I want to tell them. And my mama next day knocking at my damn door. She was like, Andrea, open this door. I said, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm grown with 2 kids. And she was like, it was not all right to cuss the church people out. I said, I've been wanting to cuss their behinds out.
It was waiting to happen.
Oh, but I got grown and I could say what the hell I want to say. I am married. And at the time, me and my ex-husband we were separated. So he didn't live in my house. I called him up. I said, Ronnie, my mama at my house. He said, I'm on my way. Because even though me and Ronnie were together, he was still protecting me. He got to the house. He said, Miss Thompson, check this out. She grown. Now you want to have a conversation with her? You can have a conversation. But she is grown with 2 kids, and this is my house. And yeah, period. He said, this is my house. It's my house. And she gonna say, well, I just want to talk to her. He was like, look like you want to hit her, but you don't think you want to talk to her. Because my mom and dad believe in raising their hands to their children, even though they grow. So
Spare the ride, spoil the child.
He was like, you can talk to her, but check this out. Don't raise your voice in front of my house with my kids, but he's still young and we don't know who you are. So you can have a conversation, but I'll be back in an hour and make sure my wife and my children are okay. Okay, it's still my house. And so that's what happened. But the pastor's daughter and their kids, something about some church kids get on my damn nerve. I'm gonna go tell my daddy. I said, tell your daddy. I said, Mama, see, that's why I don't like them. And she was like, well, keep your mouth shut because you can't say that. You can't say how you feel. I was like, why I can't say how I feel? It was always shut up, be quiet. Don't be asking no questions. And then I said, but on Sunday, y'all asking for some money. On Sunday, you said, give me 50% of your tithes. But on Sunday, asking for more money when we get to the second church. I said, but how that works? And so she was like, well, don't be asking no questions, Andrea. You know, keep your mouth shut. And I was like, that's why I'm up out of here. Okay. And I said, Mama, I think how your religion is and how mine is, I want to be better. I want to be better. It's in a sense I don't want to be controlled, and they're controlling every aspect of my life. Because the Lord supposed to control every aspect of my life. I'm not sinning because I got a divorce. Oh, and that one thing too, if you get divorced, you can't never get married again. I said I'm never coming back. I want a man, okay? And I want to love me. I said I'm gonna come back.
That was the thing that I had battle with too, when I was going through my divorce, because there was like a part in the Bible where it's saying, if you get a divorce, that's a sin unto God, or the only way you can get a divorce is that if your husband cheats, or I don't know where it's at.
If he gets married under false, if he marries you under false pretense, like he's an abuser, or he does, he commits adultery. The Catholic Church is the same way. Once you get if you get married in a actual church by a priest, it's logged with the Vatican. So you could, like, for me, if I divorce my husband, I could never get married in a church again unless I applied for an annulment, which I did not know before I got married up in that church. Because don't tell my mama, but I sure wouldn't have got married up in there. I'd have found me a nice venue or something. But I didn't never know that, because it just says that, like, once you are married, you're always married to that person. So I think that's where, maybe human beings take that thing and stretch it to mean that you can't get married again, because somewhere there's this belief that once you are married one time under God, that division can never be broken in this lifetime. Right. So,
but my dad didn't believe that. It was a woman in our church who divorced her husband, and she ain't never had a man again. I said, over my dead body, my mama. I love you, but over my dead body. This don't make no sense. You can't give me no answer. And I told my mom, I said, my ex-husband got a new wife. And my dad said, but you still wife number one. I said, but I'm going to get married. I'm not going to let nobody tell me I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life and be lonely and be unhappy. And I said, I forgot. That's why she miserable too, because she ain't got nobody, because she won't be so damn mean and angry too. So I'm not going to be like that. And I told my mom, I'm never coming back to that church. I'm going to find me one that's going to accept me because I'm a divorced person. But I just don't think you should put them. Everybody need love. Everybody want companion, and be alone for the rest of your life. That's not normal.
Right.
And I want you to do that.
Yeah. And that was the thing that I had struggled with, because I was still in the church. And actually I had left my mom's church and I had joined another church. Because I think he was an elder at the time, one of the elders branched off and made his own church. And I had always liked the way that he preached and everything, because he made the Bible like relative and really real. And it was like a different type of connection. And he was just more progressive than the church that I was at. They was same thing with the clothes. The women had to wear dresses and skirts every time they came into the building. Pants were not allowed. They always had to wear stockings. Dresses below the knees, conservative wear, everything covered up. I'm not saying you're supposed to be out here just like, hey,
right, but yes.
But it was like certain things you couldn't wear. Huh?
You can't show no skin. My mom was like, I went to her house. I was like 35 years old, and I got my hair done. I had a halter dress on. It was beautiful. I was looking cute too. And I went over. gave me a damn. Oh hell no! I said, Mama, I know this your house, but what's the towel for? She said to cover yourself up. I said, I gotta go. I can't do that. I'm like,
they just come across you and put
safety pins. Safety pins.
Put a little shawl over your lap.
Yes.
During altar
Oh
call,
my goodness.
So this is the thing I found kind of offensive. Like during altar call, women who were not saved clearly was coming there to get salvation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They would not always dress because they don't know the dress code. They just know they come to church. They would come to the altar and sometimes have their cleavage out, or just maybe they'll have on a not skater strap, but what's the sleeveless dresses or shirts or something. They would take a cloth and just wrap it around their shoulders so that the men who are on the deacon's board and who's elders and stuff, so they wouldn't get tempted to do anything, and they wouldn't be looking at anything else. Like, what kind of men do you have up here that can't control themselves?
Yes.
We're church. Right. Who get tempted in church?
You ordained these ministers, you ordained these elders. Yeah. Why is it that y'all have to put so much covering over the women? Mm-hmm. And another thing I had got upset about, what made me leave that church, is the men, they could dress however they wanted to dress. There's no shorts. Mm-hmm. But they can wear their, suits, ties, whatever. And somebody asked, okay, well, if the women have to wear dresses and skirts and stockings, should the men wear bow ties or ties every time they come? And people kind of laughed at her question. I was like, that's a valid answer, a valid question, because if women have to have all of these restrictions, then the men should have something too. Like, why is it that the woman always has to be covered up? Why is it always a woman's responsibility to make an effort to be godly? Yeah. Right. And that's when I decided, I was like, all right, you know what? This ain't for me no more. I'm going to a new church. And it was okay in the beginning. It was more progressive. They can wear pants if they wanted to, free to worship however you want to worship. So I was like, yeah, I'm all for this. But as time went on and as the church began to get a little bit bigger, it started to be more money driven. They wanted to move the big name pastors in. They wanted, TD Jakes. They wanted, I can't think of his name. I talked about on another live that I was on, but they wanted all these big name, Marvin Sapp. They wanted all these big name people in here to get in. And our praise team was like the advertisement for the church, because our praise team was just, I guess, that good at the time or whatever. And so people would come to the church basically for the praise team. So they built off that and started to get more followers and more people to join the church and stuff like that. I was going through my divorce with my husband, and I was talking to one of the mothers of the church, and she was talking about, if you divorce him, it's going to be a sin, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, I can't never marry again. And she's like, no, but this is what the Bible says. And, if you divorce him, it's a sin. I'm like, well, I'm going to have to ask God for forgiveness for this, because why should I have to be unhappy? I know you should be he wasn't trying to file for a divorce. I mean, he was, instead of cheating on me, going with all these different women, promised that when he got out of jail, that he would get back with me and we would build this life. But then he went with somebody else. So I'm sitting here trying to build my life back up and everything, and he's not filing for a divorce. And I'm like, so I can't file for a divorce? I got to wait on him? And still be living, godly or whatever?
Right.
Yeah.
No. So I went and filed. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to go to hell, man, because I'm not going to live like this. This is
hell. This it. I'm already here. I'm in it
hell right now.
Right. Can't do it.
I cannot. So,
how did your mom feel, Shanita? How did your mom feel like when you questioning not being in the church? How did she feel about it?
About me not being in church?
Yes. Not you going to church. How did she feel?
She, at first, she had a fit. She was like, I don't understand who you are now. I don't understand what's going on with your life. And I didn't understand it either, but I just know that I couldn't be there anymore. and not even at that church. I just couldn't do church at all. My mom, because she's heavy into the church, can't nothing, sway her one way or the other. And that's just pretty much what it is with people who are 60 and above. They are heavy in their convictions and can nothing really change you. So we've had a falling out because she didn't understand where my life was. She didn't understand what I was going through. And she just, I guess she wanted to help maybe, but just didn't know how and just reacted. She didn't too much.
Do you think people do that because they're conflicted? Like to support you, do you think that, like I know you said, a lot of times people are older, so they don't, it's hard to change their convictions, right? But do you think that internally, maybe the reason why it's hard for them to do that is because it would mean that they were maybe going down a wrong path for so long, especially for women or mothers? It's like to admit that maybe you're right about something, right? Means I've been doing it wrong, even though that's not necessarily what it means, right? Because everything happens for a reason, right? Even when what we consider bad things to happen, it's still happening for a reason. But it can feel conflicting because to support you would mean I'm not supporting my own vision or what I think is right or what I've been doing all my own life.
Yeah.
And especially when you older, it's like you start thinking about I only got this much life left. I didn't lived all of it this way, and then I'm gonna change now.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be 1,000 times harder.
I get what you're saying, and I felt like my parents was that way, but at the same time, it is like let me. I'm grown. Let me do me. If I feel like if I feel like that your way might be right, then I'll figure that out. But if I keep saying your way ain't right, and some of the stuff is going down in the church ain't right, and half the people I cannot stand, and I want to be around, and I want to cuss stay behind out, but I know if I cuss you out, my daddy gonna have a problem with me. No, I'm good. Let me stay away from you before I cuss you out, because then I'm gonna be cuss you out, and it's gonna be a big old scene, and I'm gonna have some repercussions I've got my parents then. So no, thank you.
Now, do y'all think that robbed that has robbed you guys of time with people that you love because of the conflict that they feel between your lifestyle and theirs? Do you think that it has robbed you of time?
Yes, I think the church, quote unquote, the church robbed me of some time with my mother. I do, because she chose the church over me, and they made sure she didn't call me or talk to me for almost till my kids was like 13 to 14. I couldn't even go by her house. It was so bad. Yeah. Until my kid, I see my dad at a gas station. I see my mom I would see him at a bank, but I would go by her house and put money under her mat, because I knew she wasn't gonna be at home. But I would send her a text, so we would secretly text her, but we never told my dad. Until one day, my damn coworker told my ex-husband at my baby shower and said, "Andre talking to her mama every morning." What? I'm like, talking to your mama. I promised my mom I wouldn't tell him. She was like, "Don't tell your husband." And that's the one time I lied, and a lie blew up in my face, because my ex-husband said it didn't matter. I should knew. So I had to explain after the damn baby shower why I'm talking to my mama. And I was like, I'm crying. I said, she promised. I told her I couldn't tell you. And he was like, I don't give a damn what your mama say. I'm your husband. But I had a conflict. I love my husband. I love my mom too. So it's like, I love both of them. But I promised her, because she was like, if he finds out, he's going to tell them I'm be in trouble. And I was like, okay, Mom, I promise. So it was a lot.
What about you, Shanita?
So for me, I was conflicted as well as she was conflicted, because of the things that I was finding out about how the religion became to be. Um,
Mm,
I I don't know if y'all not that I'm just some history buff, but
I
I
am.
want to kind of understand,
Right.
why things are the way that they are now. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't ever like this in school. My daughter, she's like this now. She's like, I don't understand why we got to learn history. It's dumb. I'm never going to use it in life. It's just good to know,
Yes.
It is. It
And then
is.
since I've been out of the church, I've been doing a lot more reading back on my history,
Mhm.
and especially my African history, because that's not really taught in the church. Neither was it
Mm-hmm.
taught in school.
Mm-hmm.
So
Kush,
some of the
Kemet.
things
Let's,
of how some of the things of how Christianity became to be,
mm-hmm.
and I started looking. So what actually helped me, I guess, break the seal for me was I started watching Hidden Colors.
Oh, that's my that's why we right here.
You
Right
know,
here.
so
All
I
five
started
parts.
watching. Oh, it's five.
Yeah, there is a newer one. And there's one that's not in the Hidden Color series, but all the guys, I'll get you the information that the guys from Hidden Colors are on. And it's actually on Amazon Prime, I think. And it's a
Oh,
good one too. Yeah, I'll
I
get you the information.
only watched up to three. I didn't know there was a four and five.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching the first one. I was like, hmm.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I started watching number two, and I was like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
And then number
My
three, I
questions
was
is
like,
being answered.
oh, wow.
All them questions, right? That the church tells you covers up because they don't want to answer, and they use quote unquote faith to explain everything,
Yep.
right? That was answering questions that you
All,
had. It
all of
was
the
like,
questions that I
oh,
had,
why you
Hidden
didn't
Colors
say that?
answered them. And
Right,
it made perfect sense. I mean, upon
right,
all of my research that I did too, but the video itself just opened up everything. And I was like,
right,
no
right,
one told me. I feel like, why my
right.
parents didn't tell me about this. As old as they are, they didn't tell me.
They ain't know.
And then my partner was like, well, they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really
They
hold them
know.
responsible because they didn't know. And I'm like, yeah, but
They
y'all,
didn't
they had to
ask.
know something.
They
You know
didn't
what I'm saying? But
ask.
you just maybe they were just so it was so driven into them to be
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
convicted for something that they couldn't let go or want to believe anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was confliction for her because her trying to be supportive, but it was also like, where did I go wrong as a parent? Why
Yeah.
you don't believe
Mhm.
what I believe or what I taught you, or why are you going astray? Really,
Yes.
for her, I think it felt like more of a failure. So, um, so we battled with that for a good long, not a long while, but long enough because I kind of had to distance myself. And then I also went through a phase where I was just angry at everybody because I was becoming woke. Like I was a part
Andrea
of
can
that whole
understand
woke
that.
generation part when everybody was on the train, and that started to feel like a religion too. And I'm like, let me
Now
just be
y'all doing
me.
too much. Right. I just want to be myself.
It's too much. Y'all got too many
Right.
requirements. You're not woke if you don't know this. If you don't know who this person is, you not woke.
Right.
Let
Y'all
me
starting to
just
be
let me be
churchy.
me.
Right.
Yeah, right. I'm good. So, but yeah, to answer your question, that's what me and my mom went through. My dad, on the other hand, he was he was he still was still Christian, but he was a little bit more understanding because I started talking about, because when you're convicted about something, you want somebody else to get it too. And so you're
Yes.
so passionate about what you're saying, but when it's falling on deaf ears, it's like, man, y'all ain't trying to hear me. Y'all sleep. Y'all want to be sheep. So I had to like take a step back and kind of go about this a different way, just like Christianity. Uh,
Right.
through love and kindness have I drew thee, right?
Mhm.
So I said, all right, because I know when I was Christian, even if I didn't have Christian friends or people who didn't believe what I believe, I didn't treat them any different. They were still, if I wanted to win them over for Jesus, um, and I say Jesus because I'm not gonna say that. So because I don't know who believes what on your channel, and I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Okay.
Oh, that's
So,
nice.
yeah. But if I wanted to win souls over for Christ and they don't know who Christ is, the only way they're going to see Christ is through me. Because I may be the only Jesus that they see. So they need to see me acting accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I went about with being woke, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I had to approach it differently. Well, did you know that X, Y, and Z? And if they didn't want to hear it, okay, we'll just go on to
Right.
a new conversation. I can't make you believe what I believe because what I believe is for me. And we all have our own personal journeys, spiritual journeys that we lead. So who am I to
Yes.
tell you what you believe is wrong? And who are you to tell me that what I believe is wrong? How about
Right.
we just coexist and
Right.
we'll find out in the end what happens. Because no one who is
No
living
one
on
really
earth
knows.
knows. No one really
Mm-hmm.
knows. But for Christians, I'd rather be safe than sorry because I don't want to be caught looking up in heaven, looking up from hell and burning the bubble. Which I think that's a load of crap, but that's neither
So
here or there.
that was more
To each
understanding.
his own. To each his own. But upon learning that, like I said, I had went through a whole phase where I was just angry at everybody. I was angry with the church. I was angry with my parents. I was angry with whoever wasn't trying to believe what I believe.
Mm.
And I was shunned because I was already shunned anyway because I left the church. So I was like, fuck it. We just gonna
Right. We just finna do
this
the damn
pastor doing
thing.
this. I'm exposing this pastor. They sleeping around. Like I was
Everybody can get it.
everybody in the game.
Everybody can get it. Line them
But
up.
then I was like, right, let me calm it down because this is
Right.
not even to people who are woke or people who still trying to have an understanding of what I'm going through. It's still not a good look. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to hear you being angry all the time. Nobody wants to be preached at all the time. So that's when I was like, all right, let me just calm it down,
Well,
take a step back,
Right.
and focus on Shanita. And I was on Facebook and I'm like, I want to be spiritual, not holy. And there's a difference between the two.
mhm.
Let me be spiritual. So I started working on my spiritual life. And when I left the church, this is just my own personal beliefs for me. When I left the church, I feel like a whole lot more doors were open for me because I was focused on my spirit and not the church. I've never
Mm-hmm.
been, so free in my life. You couldn't catch me in no damn lipstick, in no wig, honey. The stuff, how y'all see me now is wild. Like I've always been a people person and an open spirit and all of that kind of stuff. But
Couldn't
I
express it.
was when I was going to church, I was insecure. I didn't like my skin color. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like anything about me because it's said to us over and over again that we are nothing without God, right?
Yep.
We're nothing. We're nobody. So I kind of took that. I was like, well, who I am is who I am in the church, who I am in God. I'm nothing without you, Jesus. I need you in my life, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But I was losing me. I went through an identity crisis because I didn't know who I was.
Mhm.
Everything who I was, who I am at the time was wrapped up in Jesus. Shanita didn't
Right.
know what Shanita wanted. She didn't know if she wanted to go to school after high school. Shanita didn't know if she wanted to be married. All Shanita knew was that she wanted to fuck. That's it. Because I had been through so much other stuff with my divorce.
You and Drea have such similar experiences.
Yes, you do.
Hey, I was like, I want to be married, get up out of here. I divorced. I was like, oh, it's party time. It's the club. Oh, it's every halter top. I'm showing my breasts. I'm showing I wear weave. I wear whatever color I want. I wear lipstick. And I was like, don't be wearing lipstick, the world's girls with them red lipstick is a bunch of hoes. I was like, for real, I wear lipstick. And the one day we went to our house, she said, Veronica, her lipstick is a little too dark. And so I said, Mama, Veronica's 17 years old. we ain't like you and Daddy. Okay? We ain't like you. parent. I'm a different parent than you and daddy. I don't need that much control over my daughter because her lipstick is dark. That's ridiculous. But
Right.
she was like, Veronica is a little what she say? Veronica is a little I said fast. You mean you want to say fast? It's okay.
Right.
That's fine with me. I don't care.
Even though I grew up in church, Catholic church, went to private school, Catholic school, and all that, I didn't have the experience like you ladies. But one thing but I always ask questions, like how Shanita was saying. So I definitely understand the whole asking questions point of thing. Like I always want to know why. Sometimes I get on Andrea nerves. Because she be like, you always want an extra explanation to something.
Yes,
Can't you just
explanation.
like look at here? If you want me to subscribe to it, I'm gonna need to know what I'm involved in fully. But I always had questions about why this and why that, and it's funny because it always occurred to me. Um, Probably in my teens or so, like my early teens, like what kind of religion would not? Because I have a auntie that's kind of like, you know, uh, has the experience. Like her kids, my cousins have this type of experience, and where they were heavily into church. I spent a lot of time with them when I was little. I always saw it as fun, and she was a woman that I really looked up to because she was always well put together, and everything seemed, when you young and you little, you like that. You like the corralling of the
Yes.
church, right? And when
Yes.
you're young and you're little, it feels safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? I got a whole little community that belongs to me and all that. It's not until you really start asking questions and seeing how other people live that you start to be like, okay, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then when you get questioned for questioning, then that's when you really be like, wait a minute. Because my thought process was, if the religion or whatever you telling me to believe in is that, you know, great, right? You shouldn't have a problem with me asking why. If
Mm.
everything is on the up and up and the straight and narrow, straight direct path to heaven with Jesus and the Lord, Mary Magdalene, all of them, right? We're gonna have a reunion when I get there. If it's like that, why you can't answer my questions, or why is it that I'm supposed to follow blindly
Right.
without any answers from
Mhm.
men?
Yeah.
Because it's not man I have to have faith in, right? It's the
Right.
spiritual realm that I'm supposed to have faith in because I can't see it. I don't gotta have faith in you though.
But I
I
asked
don't,
my
I don't gotta trust you like that because you made of bones and blood just like me.
Right. Right.
So I'm trying to figure out how you trying to tell me that you got a director connection to thee than me. Just
Right.
trying to figure this out. Help me. How is your connection more? I gotta go through the middleman and his wife and and
All
the
these
choir
things.
director and the deacon and the board and all of that just to get to Jesus. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a lot. The judgment for me, just in religion, period, is what does it. Because it's like when you have kids, it's the most sacred, you know, thing that you can have with another human being, even greater than a husband or a wife or whatever, because they come from you, right? And
Yes.
just like God, I think in a way, it's almost like a godly, we're not gods, but it's like a godly union with your children, right? Because it's such a juxtaposition to turn your back on them, even when they do wrong. And don't you sometimes wonder, isn't that how the church is supposed to be?
well, they said, how can you
Like,
love God if you don't
if
love your
you,
next to you? So I be looking at them. They can't. They
right,
don't love the neighbor.
like if you,
They can't stand the neighbor. They fight with the neighbor. They cuss the neighbor out.
right, for not believing what they believe.
Yeah. So you know.
The judgmental for me was so I've been around this horn twice. 3 times actually. I was had kids out of wedlock. Because I'm stubborn by nature. Um, so the first time I got pregnant in church, I was 17, and I was on the praise team. No, I was in the choir.
Okay.
So what they do in church, in some churches, I don't know what they're doing now, but if you get pregnant out of wedlock, you have to take a sabbatical, or you being sat down. You have to stop your duties at the church. If you're in any type of leadership position, you have to stop what you're doing and wait out the pregnancy. And so after you have the baby, then you can get back up and continue to do what you're doing. But don't stop paying your tithes. No. And I didn't understand it. And a lot of times too, what they wanted you to do was kind of confess your sins and let people know that you're pregnant. So I had to do that. The pastor's daughter, she got pregnant out of wedlock. She had to stand in front of the church and let everybody know that she committed this great sin and that she's going to be sitting down. So if anybody had any questions of why she's not singing in the choir no more, why she's not praising him anymore, why she's not doing stuff anymore, it's because she's pregnant and she's going to be taking a sabbatical. So I had to do that same thing.
What?
Yeah.
Girl.
So, was that humiliating for you? Was that humiliating? Was that humiliating for you to go in front of the church and God tell them that you got pregnant? And really,
I mean, yes and no, because I was kind of like, I was a teenager and I was 17 going on 18, so I was just like, fuck it.
Oh well.
Y'all already think I'm this anyway, so here I am. I had my son, and then 18 months later, I got pregnant with my daughter. Went through that whole thing again. The last time I got pregnant out of wedlock, I was divorced at this time, and it was when I had my final, like, I'm done, I'm gonna leave the church. I was pregnant, but I hid my pregnancy for 6 months because I knew exactly what was going to happen if I said I was pregnant. I knew that they were going to tell me to sit down. I knew that they were going to shun me. I knew it was going to be all this stuff. So I was like, I'm not going to say anything. But people were starting to notice different things. And then being pregnant and still trying to sing, I wasn't really hitting my notes because the baby was weighing down and stopping my diaphragm. So I couldn't really hit the notes like I could. So I was doing better. And I sung soprano. I was barely hitting those notes. I was either too sharp or I was too flat.
Oh, wow.
And the alto notes, it just wasn't, I was better at tenor. Is how bad it got for me. I was 6 months pregnant, and the pastor's wife had some type of women's convention because there was always that going on, some women empowerment stuff that she had her own shit going on. So I don't know how she was trying to empower any other women, and she's still going through the bullshit that she was going through. Sisters helping sisters, I guess. I don't know. But so the way I asked, because at the end of the session, there was like question and answer period. So if anybody wanted to ask something, they can stand up and ask their questions or whatever. Or if you were too embarrassed or, you're new to the church or whatever, you can write your questions down and I'll read them. So I was like, all right, let me just test this and see. So I wrote my question down. I said, I'm pregnant, but I want to tell my pastor and first lady, but I feel like I wouldn't be accepted if I told them that I was pregnant. So she read that out, and she was like, "Oh no, honey! If you come to this church, you would be accepted at all times. We love all people. We're not going to turn nobody out." So I was like, "Okay." So at the end, when everybody was hugging and saying goodbye and all of this stuff, I was like, yeah, the one who had said that it was pregnant. She was like, who was it? I said, it was me. She was like, really? Well, we're going to have to talk. We're going to have a talk with the pastor, with my husband. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Because I'm going off of what she said on stage. They had a talk with me, and they was like, and this was at choir rehearsal, or praise team rehearsal. I came to the praise team rehearsal, rehearsed and everything. But it wasn't until after we got done rehearsing, she was like, and the pastor, they kind of pulled me to the side and it was like, listen, now that we know that you're pregnant, we're going to need you to sit down for the rest of the pregnancy. Not because it was, they were concerned about me or nothing like that. For the pastor, it wasn't a good image on the church because I was a single mom. Being pregnant up on there and praise team is not a good image. And then for the lady, she was concerned it was a liability because if something happens to me while I'm upstage and I slip and fall or something, the liability comes on them. Okay. And I can sue or whatever. Not concerned about the fact that I'm bringing a new life into this world. Okay, not none of that. But it wasn't a good image on the church, and it was a liability. So that's when I was like, but you had said,
yeah, I was just finished.
Right.
Y'all weren't gonna turn nobody away. What was that, fluff? To try to get some people in,
right.
And the pastor and the first lady, they knew me. They know my mom. I've been to their houses. It's not like they did not know who I was. We were pretty much family. They knew me. So for y'all to treat me like that, I was like,
okay, I see you. I see you.
And just from then on, it's just the church itself started to go downhill as far as the ministry and stuff was concerned. But all the while now, I'm the one who has the open sin, because they can see me being pregnant. Mm-hmm. I had to be sat down, but they're family members. They were on the soundboard. They were security. They were ushers. The pastor's wife's sister, her husband is cheating. He's working the soundboard. You think he got sat down?
No. Only the women.
Summer Breeze just put in the chat. She said, y'all need to research how many first ladies of the church have left their pastors and or have committed suicide because of them knowing all of their husbands' misdeeds.
Yes.
Pastor John Gray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah!
I was so Andrea called me. Listen, I was like, girl!
Yeah, don't get out of him. Oh, he's doing right. I can't stand that man.
Yes.
I got nothing to say when you keep cheating. And you know what? I watched his reality show. I was so mad. I said, I've been bamboozled, I've been lied to and conned. Okay? Because I hate to be conned. And I said, I watched his thing on Oprah, and I was like, oh my God, a black man taking care of his family.
Yeah, and he's young and
and lying and cheating.
Wow.
When I see him, it was a short video that either TD Jakes had posted on his Instagram, or maybe his daughter had posted on Instagram, and there was some video that it was at some kind of conference. And he was talking about how he's going to take care of his wife and his wife is first ministry and all this stuff. And I looked at that motherfucker and I was like, you lying.
Thank you.
I can see it all on you. You cheating like a mud, but I
can cheat like me. Oh, and I told Erica, I said, Latoya, lucky over there getting counsel,
getting advice.
My husband cheat too. Okay, I would get counsel from him.
I'm done with it. I'm done with it. The pastor's husband at the church that I was going to, he was married with kids, like young kids at that. He's sleeping with everybody on the church, on the praise team. Yes. He's working security. Was he sat down? No, they brought him to the altar to pray for him.
They only sat down the women. They only tell the women we're bad. But we are the one who we pays the tithes. We are the one who faithfully pays our tithes. And then we are the one who say, the church is gonna be there for us, but I guarantee you, if my light bill need paid, my rent need paid, the church ain't gonna help pay me that shit. But they want my tithes every Sunday. I'm just saying.
Now they did help me out with my light bill, but I had to pay them back, and I did because I was going through it. I mean, I was newly divorced and all that, but I paid it back. And he tried to make a big deal out of that because I had put the pastor on blast. Everybody had got it, okay? I did not going down the line taking shots because I was done with the church. Like that was just people say that church hurt isn't real.
Yes, it is.
It's real.
It's real.
It is definitely
it's a
real.
Relationship.
They say it's just an excuse, no such thing as church hurt.
Yeah.
just like there's work hurt, just like
Yeah.
there's relationship hurt, there's
Mhm.
hurt everywhere. What do you
Yeah.
mean? There's hurt in the church. Well,
Yes.
it's church and it hurts the people in the church. Is not the people church? Are not the church people? Like,
Right.
it's church hurt. Y'all hurt me, and y'all don't want to take ownership for what y'all did.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, you want to, the devil got a mind. She's backslid.
Devil got her mind. You know, a little bit ain't. My mama said she called me my nickname, and she was like, "Look, the devil got." I said, "Ain't a devil gave my mind, mama. I know y'all ain't right, and I ain't coming back. So stop calling my phone. Stop calling me, ask me to come back. And matter of fact is, he ain't getting a damn dime from me. We left the church. Me and my ex-husband, we left the church, and we ain't paying no more tithes to this church. Period. So stop
Period.
with the money."
I got a question for either of you. Do you guys think that women put so much faith in the church because man has let them down?
Yeah,
Do
I
you
believe a
think?
little bit.
Like, do you think that a lot, like I've heard you guys both mention like single women and women with children, single women with children, or women after divorce, right? Or a lot of times put a lot of faith in the church as a I don't know, as like a partner almost. You know what I mean? And because they no longer have that once a man or some human betrays them, right? Do you think that we then transfer, or because we lose faith in men or a relationship or something like that, that we transfer that faith, or we say, okay, well, clearly, this dude ain't where it's at, so I'm gonna transfer my faith to the church
Yes.
And put all my focuses and energy in
and
there
put my
because
focus in that, because it's
Yes.
God got me.
Yes.
right.
Hmm.
And now, why do you think it is that we think more than men? I think in general, why do you think we need the church entity that is usually overseen and ran by a man more times than not? I mean, of course, there are women, female pastors and priests and stuff, but overwhelmingly it's run by men. Why do you think that as women, especially single women or single mothers, go to church to find their faith when it's still run? But see, the pussycat want to know. I'm saying, I got you. I want to know why we just ain't counting on the pussies of the world. we we
But
run
you know what?
things.
In the black church,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's not in the black church, in the church period, I think it's like that because it's ran by
Men.
the man, but
Hmm.
it's the one who helps like keep it running.
Yes.
And so
Right. It's
even though you
usually
have
run
the
by
women in the
women.
church, you have men in the church.
It's usually run by women behind the
Yeah,
scenes. When you look at a board, or you look at the first lady, or you look at all the behind the scenes stuff that goes on with a church, a lot of times it's run a lot by women, except the money in the pulpit.
right,
Yeah, because
right.
they
It
do a lot
is
of behind the scenes. I watch my mom do a
A
lot,
lot.
a
and
a
lot,
get
lot
and
behind the
get
scenes.
no
and get no
real
credit. The day I'm
recognition or credit for that. You know.
because women like to be women are nurturers, so they feel
Yes.
like they have to take care of something, some type of another responsibility. So because they can't take care of a man right now, they'll have a man in their life, so they'll go to the church.
Hmm.
Let me put my emotions and energies into this because I have to take care of something. So if a woman's in church and she's active and putting all of her stuff in, it's because she feels like she has to take care of something, and the church gives her that kind of assurance that
Yes.
you're important. You know what I'm saying? I
Slim
think that's what it is.
Slim Jim Longfoot in the chat said, "You hit it on the head. It
Mhm.
is comforting to women who, of course, have been let down by the sorry men they've been with to be in the presence of a godly man. Unfortunately, most of them are just wolves."
Yep.
Yeah,
I
Exactly.
mean, I
that's
mean,
sad. I mean, it almost makes me, in the midst of the conversation, it almost makes me wonder why women as a whole, especially Black women, have not found a way to be more joined and together as a unit
uh,
without the interference of men. You know, we love our men, but just as far as being in control of our own lives and destinies, right? Why we don't depend more on one another rather depending on a man.
Well,
Just made me think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. When I left the church, the black older women that knew how I grew up, they was the ones who helped me out. I had a good friend. She's like a stepmom to me. She was raised just like I was, and every time I told her about the church, and she gave me good guidance when it came to my mom and dad. Because I'm gonna be honest, I was cussing my mama out. I was like, I ain't feeling this. I ain't feeling you, and I used to like, and so my friend was like, Drea, now you know better. I was like, yeah, but she just get on my nerves. She making me mad. And I stopped cussing. And I was like, Mama, I'm not coming back to the church. I'm doing me, my family,
Hmm.
what I'm doing. And I'm going to find me a church home. It won't be with your church home, but I'm going to find me a church home who's going to accept my family the way it is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I haven't found that home because every time I go to some of the black churches, get on my nerves. It turns my stomach. I ain't gonna lie.
Why do you
Yeah.
think so many people are so inclined to subscribe to this type of judgmental spirituality?
Mm,
I think, for one, I think it's because that's all what people
yes,
know, and that's what they're
Hmm.
raised. So to try to
Okay.
stray from that is uncomfortable.
yeah,
Hmm.
And maybe it's a fear factor to it because now you're stepping into unknown territories.
Hmm.
Um,
Mm.
and that kept me from like wavering because I'm like, I don't know if I should do this because that's not how I was raised.
yeah,
I know what I know, and I don't have time to learn nothing else.
yeah,
Hmm.
Um, but like I said, after watching Hidden Colors, it opened up my mind so much to be more open to not to anything, but help me be more open to different possibilities of
Hmm.
what could be or how my spiritual life could be other than what I was taught. Because let's be honest, when you're taught a certain thing, it's, as far as church and religion goes, you
mhm,
don't go back and try to research what you're taught. You just know that this is what it is, and
yeah,
you know
Right.
that you're supposed to read the Bible. You know you're supposed to pray. You know you're supposed to have a relationship with God.
Hmm.
So to do anything outside of that, it's like no, no. I know what I know. I don't need to know nothing else.
And they say
And
by the time a child is, I think it's 12. In the video that I'm gonna find for you, they said by the time a child is 12, because they were encouraging homeschooling.
mhm,
And they were saying by the time a child is 12, they have already decided their subconscious beliefs and doctrine.
yep,
so true.
that's
The
true.
majority of that time, you still under the umbrella of whatever your parents believe.
Yep,
Right.
So it becomes very hard to, they were saying that's why it becomes so hard to change that way of
Yeah.
thinking. And that the only way we're going to be able to change the way that the world thinks is to start teaching our children differently earlier.
yes,
Right. And for my kids, I don't force any type of religion on them. When I came out of the church, I was like, "Oh, y'all need to know this about your history. You need to know this." And I was kind of like being dogmatic. I was being forceful with it. Dogmatic. I couldn't
Yeah,
say it is
there you go.
dogmatic. Um, but they weren't accepting it, and
Hmm.
so I was like, you know what? Let me just introduce it to them,
mhm,
and what they take is what they take, and we'll just go with it. I'll tell them every now and again a little something about their history, and they'll understand this. So, Mama, you did this, and why this happened. And if I don't know it, let's go. Let's go to Google. Google is not the all be all end all. I know, but it's a start. So they'll kind of help them when they doing their own little research or whatever. Then they'll be like, well, my mama did tell me about this. Let me explore more of this. I let them be more, especially my oldest kids. I let them whatever they choose to believe because they are 16 and about to be 15. At this point in the game, Whatever they choose to believe is what they choose to believe. Now, I would love it if we're all on the same page and we all believe the same thing, but I have to also understand that they are their own individuals. I can only tell them what I know, but what I will not be doing is teaching them Christianity. That's just. But if they choose to believe that, then
Right.
that's their life.
I,
That's their beliefs. But
I,
as far as that goes, no.
I feel
Um,
the same way when it comes to my kids too. I didn't want my kids raised up in the church like I was. I let them do what the hell. I let them do all the things that I said no to. My daughter went to the prom. My daughter went every cheerleading. She did all the sports activities. My parents said no. My daughter and my son did because I wanted them to just be normal to me. I don't feel like I missed the prom. I didn't get to go to prom. I didn't get to go to the senior class trips. I wanted them to do all that, and I thought it was unfair that we as kids we missed out.
yeah,
I got the thing for you, Shanita. You got a
the
pen?
link.
Yep. I mean the show that's on Amazon Prime.
Uh-huh.
And Amazon Prime has a lot of good stuff. I don't know if you've seen Samuel Jackson's Enslaved series.
Mm-mm.
It's freaking awesome. And
Okay.
the one show that we was talking about is called Out of Darkness.
Out of Darkness.
Yes.
Okay. I
Yeah,
have Amazon
I
Prime.
literally watch. I probably watched it like 8 or 9 times. Like I'll turn it on at night when I'm going to bed, and I'll just listen to it. Cause it's hard when like you said, like when you was watching Hidden Colors, right? It's hard to get everything in the first round, like to really
Mhm,
listen to everything. So
mhm,
it's like I'll
mhm,
go back with stuff like that, and I'll watch it over and over and over. You know what I mean? Because
because that's
it's
what
like I
you do.
want to know the information. Because
Mhm,
the more I know it, the more comfortable you are sharing it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the easier it is to, when you watch something else or when you read something else, it's easier to apply what you've read in one place to the other, so you can come to your own gratified conclusions. You know what I mean? So it's like I just like to watch stuff over and over and over again sometimes, but
yeah,
it's really good. And the
yeah.
enslaved thing with Samuel Jackson too. They take you all the way back to the motherland, honey. Like I never knew, girl. It's just so much. It's a whole nother show.
It,
It
it
is.
is.
It's a whole nother
It's so
show,
full of a lot of information. So you have to go back and watch it because it's like, dang, I didn't see that the last time I watched it. Dang, I
girl.
didn't see that the last time I watched it. It's a lot. So I'm gonna make sure I wrote it down.
Yes,
I'm gonna make
yes.
sure I.
Go check it out. Because it's like when they said something like, "Oh, really and truly, only 4% of slaves that came across the transatlantic slave trade, only 4% came here." Right. They really went to Brazil and to other places. Like 45% went to like Brazil and South America and other countries. So when you see black and brown people that be like, I'm Brazilian, but they look like they came from the straight hood where you live at, this why.
Ooh.
Because it's just our brand of slavery. America's brand of slavery is so publicized because it was so bad.
Mm,
Not that theirs wasn't bad too, but you
right.
couldn't get out of ours. You know what I mean? You kept being born into it when people had kids and their kids were slaves. So it has the most publicity, and so you think, they all came here, and it's
Mm.
like, nah, only
Nah,
a
you have to
small margin of them came here. We everywhere, because of the transatlantic slave trade in a lot of ways. That's why
Wow.
we so prevalent in so many places. But that was just one fun fact.
And
You'll be like, go
a
ahead.
lot of stuff, what I find, I mean, I know this is kind of like off topic, but um, when I was going to college,
Hmm.
and I kind of put on a hold, I'm gonna go back, but we were learning American history, and they started talking about the slave trade and how America became to be, and I was just dumbfounded because again, why wasn't I being taught this in elementary school?
Mm.
Why wasn't being taught this in middle school and high school? it wasn't until you get a college education that you understand this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you do your own research, or if you watch these videos. It's just like so much of the stuff is just being hidden from us for what? Like what, why are y'all afraid to give us that information? Or maybe not afraid, but what's the purpose of holding that information back from us? You know what I'm saying? And questions like that, like
Like
I
in the
need to
thing,
do
they one of the guys said, when you think about history, it's called his story. So they're telling you their story, their version of the story, and they want you to adopt it as your version, but it's not.
right. Girl, don't get me started.
And they use, and when we talking about, religion, right, like what this live is about, and you guys' experience, um the thing is that a lot of the controlling things that went on were done through religion in
Yeah.
so many
Yes.
places, right?
Yes.
Because even though even in America is, there's supposed to be separation between church and state, but religion is very political. You know what I mean? Religion is I would say second to, if not first, before politics. It's
Mm.
about money. In
It
the
Yes, it
is.
is.
in the past, before there was, and I was the same way like you, Shanita. I was like, once I started thinking about certain things, it was like I just want to know more. I want to know more. I want to know more.
Mhm.
And I didn't really stop going to. I used to go all the way to from Sacramento. Like Andrea understand, the trip from Sacramento to San Francisco was about 3 hours on a good day. And when we moved to Sacramento, we would still go to church, to our home church in San Francisco, because we were so attached to the church itself, right? Um, but for me, that dissipated once I started learning more,
Right.
and learned how political the church was in the past before there were quote unquote politics. You know, the people ran here, white people ran here to get away from religious persecution, which was basically political persecution, which is what black people are going through now with all the killing of black and brown people. So it's like politics is kind of religious just by another name.
It is.
It is. And so it's like, we got to start realizing, in a lot of ways, I feel like, that we are the church. If you really want to talk about church is they talking about the building,
Yes.
right? And spiritual, when you spiritual, we are, like, y'all having church right now.
Right.
This is church. We in
Mm-hmm.
the building. All the people in the chat is in the building. Hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Amen.
You know what I mean? That's all it takes. It
Yeah.
doesn't take me having to be like, let me go in the chat right now and make sure everybody drop they tides. make,
Mhm.
make sure you drop your tide on the way out. You're getting all this knowledge over
Yeah.
here.
You know what? The pastor that I was going to the church,
Hmm.
he was talking one day and he kind of referenced, like, I feel like he knew more than what he was preaching.
Hmm.
He,
Mm,
he kind of brought down that one scripture: greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And
Hmm.
then he said, he was like, if greater is he that is in you, then that means he is inside of you. And if he is inside of you, then you are he and he is you. That means you're a God
right.
and you can control your own not existence. Let me say, you can control your own situation. And I was like,
And
are
you
you
can't
really
control
thinking
your
about
own
this
existence. Right.
right now? What?
Mm.
And so I went and thought about that thing, and I said, and I was also watching Hidden Colors, and I was like, I'm a God.
My
Me?
God.
I
Queen.
can goddess.
Goddess Shanita. Queendom. What? All that.
And I started to get more into my spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
I have, I'm grateful to have had being connected to my ancestors.
Mhm.
And because I've had even more spiritual encounters since I've been out of the church, some of which I probably would not have had if I was
If you had remained. Mm-hmm.
still, yeah, blinded by or kind of, I don't know, shielded
Sheltered,
from.
sheltered. Yeah, it's like you sheltered. I never subscribed to the whole sheltering in place thing with churches like that, where it's like, because for a minute I went to a non-denominational church, and they used to talk a lot about godly people. I mean, like worldly people. That's what it was. They used to say worldly a lot. You know,
Yeah.
you with your worldly friends. What? I used to be
Mhm.
like, what?
No, not
World?
talking
What
about
is it? How we supposed to get the people in the seats if I ain't around the worldly people? If I don't go
no.
to the club,
I hated that. I hated
how
that.
I supposed to be godly
Hated
people in the
that.
club if ain't no
You
word?
know what I'm
If I'm
saying?
afraid to be around worldly people, I'm trying to figure out how, if we already all godly, that
Right,
we don't need each other like that. We supposed to be out here amongst
right.
all the, like in the Bible. What if we
Like you
subscribing to that?
said,
Wasn't Jesus right? He was
right.
with all the sinners and
We're
all of
not going to
them.
be kicking the
So
bubble.
why are we sheltering ourselves?
Right.
Like we don't want to get somebody's sins on us or something.
Right. They
I
got the
don't
clean.
understand that. Like as if that's a thing. I'm so
Right.
confused.
That's
See,
rude.
this worked better. This whole religion thing worked better. I think when we were slaves and didn't question nothing.
Right. You question something, you're going to get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
Right. So we was
Get that
like,
good.
okay. We was like, whatever you say then. Right. But now, when people ask questions, or I know earlier, Derek had wrote something in the chat about doctrine, right? And I kind of just replied, and I think he was just saying it. I think he was just saying it to just say, like to just say it. But I was like, like, because he was saying doctrine isn't supposed to be questioned. And I was like, doctrine that can't stand up to questions
Mhm.
sounds like something that I don't want to believe in, because it sounds like false doctrine. If your doctrine can't stand up to questions, then it's false doctrine.
And you know what, too? Back when slavery was pretty much forced, or not slavery, religion was forced on people, black churches can have, their church services, but the white slave master or the white official had to be there with them to make sure that what they were being taught was
Yes.
taught correctly, or they couldn't
Right.
say anything else. They just sat there right next to the podium or whatever while the preacher gave his sermon and stuff like that, to
Right.
make sure that they don't deviate from anything that's been taught. This is your white Jesus. This is who
Mm-hmm.
you serve. This is who, you know. But if they
Mm-hmm.
win anything against that, they get beat. They get will get beat and killed and burnt. So
Mm-hmm.
they kind of just continue on with that pattern. So, oh, you asking questions? Ooh, 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 that's too much. No, we're
Right.
not going to talk to you because you want to ask me questions. You want to know too much. You only need to know what we're teaching you and nothing else.
Right.
Bria had said she left the church and never went back.
No.
I went back for this was at the beginning of this year.
Mhm.
At the end of last year, I was going through some things spiritually that I needed help from my ancestors because it wasn't working when I was in Christianity. So I had finally got my breakthrough, right? Because I had been battling this for so long. I had finally gotten my breakthrough, and I felt like I really wanted. It was through the help of my ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
and so I went back to that church because I just needed to like cry out.
Mhm.
And I said this on my live, but the type of person I am, as me being a free spirit and all of that, I'm also free in my worship. So I'm not afraid to cry and get the ugly face and lay down on the floor and do all that stuff. Like that's just me.
Mhm.
Um, some people are quiet with theirs, but I'm an expressive person all the way around, right? So I went back to this church because I know at the church that I used to go to that they were really big on praise and worship, and they would let the praise team just kind of free worship and be all this kind of things. So I went in with the purpose to just release. I didn't need nobody coming to help me. work on me or nothing like that. But I also went to get some type of closure because I'm
Mm.
thinking too, maybe it's something that I am missing in my life as far as my spiritual life is concerned. Let me just go back to see, if there's anything that I'm missing. So I went there and I did what I did. I cried out and got it all out because I just needed to release. Not that I was sad about anything, but it's just a release and renew was
Mhm.
the what I kept hearing. Release and renew, release and renew. So I went back and I did it and I was good. So I was getting ready to walk out the church and somebody, I think one of the ushers, she was there like working with me at the altar and was like, praise him, baby. Listen, get out my ear. Let me just have this, But they do that in church. They feel like they have to, help you get your breakthrough or whatever. So I left and she followed after me and she's like, well, you want to stay to the rest of the service? And I was like, not really. I just kind of came in for what I did. And she was new to that church and she was just very excited about all the things that's going to be happening and telling me all of this stuff. And I was just like, okay, girl, but you don't know the history of this church and I'm not going to be able to tell you because that's not for me to tell you. But okay, girl.
Mhm.
And so I stayed. And while I was there, the pastor had not grown at all in his messages and how he preaches. He was still kind of preaching the same thing. The services was dry. And then I was like, Andrea, I'm not going back. There's nothing there for me.
Mhm.
I can't. It's
Closure
not.
for me. I'll tell you when,
Sometimes you just need that confirmation, probably.
I'll,
And
I'll
that's
tell you.
what
I'll tell you when I got closure. When I got closure, it's the day my mama passed away. The day she passed away, I got closure from the church.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
good. I'm good. They cannot hurt me no.
Didn't you have some incidents when your mom was sick prior to her passing,
Oh
or
yes, it is
prior to
a
her crossing over?
hospital. Oh man, I called one of my good friend Kim. I was crying. I said, Kim, I am ready to cuss some folks out at this hospital. They're here acting like they so concerned about my mom. They care about my mom. They care about me. The pastor asked about my ex-husband, how we doing. Now when y'all start doing this, y'all are saying we were the devil worship, we bad, we ain't no good, and now you want to ask about us? We doing just fine. We still family. We doing just fine. And I was just so angry. I wanted to cuss them out at the hospital. But I know my daddy. It was my daddy the reason I ain't cussed they but behinds out. My daddy wasn't there, I would cuss them out. But I didn't want to. I didn't because I could act up. I could show a scene out, but I didn't want to do it because my daddy said. But when my mom passed away, and it was I told my sister this. I told my sister this Saturday. I told my older sister. I said when mama passed away, and I went to the house. Everybody at the house. Oh, Andrea, give me a hug. We love your mama. I was like, no, y'all didn't. You didn't care for her like I did, and I'm at peace now. They can't hurt me through my. They can't hurt me through my mother because that's what they was doing. They was hurting me through her, and
Mm.
not hurt me through her. My daddy is a grown man. He would cuss you. He would cuss you out in his own way. So he's a man. He can take care of himself. But they can't get to me because they knew they can get to me through my mother. If you treat my mother wrong, oh, I'm gonna have a problem.
Mhm.
And and it's a couple times I had splashed out, but they had done things to my mother that I never forgot. Horrible
Um,
things to her. Horrible things to my mother. And I can't. I
I can't imagine. I feel like the most horrible thing, because I saw later how, once you and your mom did have a relationship,
mhm.
later once the kids got older and stuff, and your dad wasn't as controlling about her movements.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? And how she came around and came to your house and
yeah,
stuff like that. It makes me think that, as a mother, probably the biggest thing they took from her was the relationship. She didn't have a relationship with her grandchildren for 13 years. I remember Andrea told me that her mom came and dropped Christmas gifts off on the porch one time for Christmas, and just left them on the porch like that. Like that has to be like, probably, like, it's like a silent suffering.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And the church being the cause of that suffering. but then you want me to believe in what you say, in what you're saying, but I'm hurting every day
Mm.
because you telling me that I can't have my child in my life because she doesn't believe what we believe. That has to be the worst kind of suffering. I can't
That
imagine.
because why would you need
Can't
that
imagine.
much control over somebody else's relationship?
Yeah,
What is
Right.
it benefiting you? It's I'm sorry you had to go through that, Andrea.
honey.
I'm sorry.
And I think about all the wasted time that me and my mom didn't get to spend because
No.
you know she when they tell me she was dying, it was funny because out of all her kids, I'm the one who took it the not the hardest, but I'm the one who could wrap my head around that she was dying. My other brothers and sisters, they couldn't, they didn't believe it. I knew it, but it is what it is. It had made me. I don't trust women like I used to because of the church, but I have some good people, good women in my life who I do trust, and I hold them dear to my heart because they have been there for me. But some of the and right now when I hear people, when I got some good friends who go to church, I was like, girl, I'm talking about the church. I can't stand the church people. I mean, she always said, "But Dre, is I'm like that." I was like, "No, girl, but I don't like that." But she always say, "Dre, is I'm like that." But no, I said, "No, you're different." But it took me a while to trust women, and the church gave me that because it showed the women how the women was back body lying on each other, taking
Right.
taking each other's men. That happened in the church.
Yep.
It's a lot that you don't trust women, and so I was like, and you want me to be these people are friends? These are your friends, and this is where y'all they talk to each other. What happened to no? What happened to I'm your neighbor and I love you, but you don't know God, but I'm your neighbor. I said, see,
Summer Breeze.
that don't work. You just lying. You just lying.
Summer Breeze said her number one pet peeve: you can't tell me ish about my parents, my kid, or my grandbrats.
Amen.
You gonna lose me every time.
Every time.
Every
Period.
time. Just lost me right there.
Every time.
Done.
Say something about my mama. It's over.
Done.
So
And I get really thinking about mine.
when it comes to the church, I really think they they hurt black women and especially us who ties them, who pays our tithes faithfully, who believe in the Lord, and yet and still they hurt us to who's one who's been there for them, but yet and still they doesn't
I'd be like, I'd be like this. Could you imagine if, as women, especially when women are single and have children, if they took them same tithes and was putting them into a trust with each other, the type of businesses and homes and things that people could fund each other to buy and purchase,
mm,
if people could be together on things. I
mm-mm.
mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like this illusion that church brings you together.
The pastor need, he asking for more money every Sunday too. Just saying.
That
And I do believe, to a certain extent, if you're a pastor of a church and you don't have, that's your employment, and you there for the people, and you doing 6 7 days a week or whatever they do, you deserve to be compensated for that, but compensated fairly. I
right.
don't I don't often understand.
Compensated is if you don't be riding a Cadillac, have a brand new house, and your church members ain't got one. How about that?
Definitely not.
No,
Definitely not.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying, if the church members are there to help and take care of the church, they should be living life good too. I'm just being honest.
That's
Why
You're
true.
right.
I gotta suffer? Why the Lord say I gotta suffer?
Absolutely.
Give me my money. I'm working hard every day, give me my money. I don't believe
Right.
the Lord. Don't believe I gotta suffer because I'm paying you or taking or sending money to you. I mean,
Because
That's a
my
good point.
they equate suffering to being closer to God. So if you're
Hmm.
suffering, you know your treasures are laid up in heaven. So you good. You know, the broker you are, the more
Right. Right.
like the more you
The
suffer,
greater
the
your
more the
suffering.
greater the blessing is going to be. And
Right.
it's like,
Right.
but I'm tired of suffering. Like I want to live my life. I can't do that if I'm constantly giving out my money to
yeah,
you and you sitting right here, you comfortable, your life is good,
yeah,
seemingly. But I'm sitting here looking like the struggle bus every time I walk in the doors.
Yes.
looking for the next whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Mm-mm.
That's true.
I said, I'm going on cruises. I'm going to Atlanta. I said, and see, I said, Mama, I love you to death, but I'll be damned if I'm going to be not going on vacation, taking care of myself, because I believe you had them 7 kids. My dad should give you the world. Okay. She should give you the world. You have 7 kids for him. He should give you the world. And I'm going to be on vacation. I'm going to be doing me because I deserve it.
Exactly. And that's what I said. I'm gonna live my best life now that I've been free and I feel like I have this freedom. I'm gonna
Mhm.
go out here and I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live it as however free as I want to live it.
Yes.
And that's what I have been saying. Like I just want to be free. What you
Mhm.
want to do? I want to do
I
this.
don't.
That's
Right.
just
Yes.
it. I
Yes.
I want to do whatever Shanita feels good. And
Right.
Shanita,
I don't want to
everybody
have
is doing self
limitations.
preservation. Hmm?
Right. You don't want to have limitations on whatever you decide. It's
Say
like
no more.
I don't know what I want to do, but I don't want nothing limiting me before I even choose what that is.
Yeah.
Right. And that has been my whole like lot
Right.
in life to not be limited. And every
Right.
time I was told no or I can't, I was just like, no, I'm gonna do this anyway. Whether it was good or bad, I'm gonna do it because you told me no. Like and I think that's how I live my the pattern of my life. So the more it was like, no, you can't color your hair, no, you can't wear this certain thing, no, you
Yes.
can't go to these places, no, you can't hang out. And that was another thing too. We couldn't hang out with like different genders. We only had to hang out like with girls or
Yes.
married
Okay. They
people couldn't
probably
hang
know
out with
that.
single people. Single people had to only hang out with single people, and y'all
Yes.
can only go to these certain places.
Yes.
I'm like, what kind of cult activity is this? Like, why can't I just live my life the way I want to live my life? And so
Mhm.
that's when I started to like branch out and kind of be a loner. So whatever I wanted to do, I did it, and with nobody else in my ear telling me, "Oh, girl, you know you can't be doing this." If I want to do it, I'm going to do it because I want to do it. And so
Yeah.
when I left the church, I was just it was just all bets are off. Shanita
Yeah.
is finna do this. Shanita's finna look like this. Shanita's finna color her hair
Right.
like this. Shanita's finna live like this. Shanita's finna go this place. Shanita's gonna have this relationship. Like it was nothing holding me back then. That did is it took 30 years of my life for me to finally be free and figure out what it is that I want to do. And in
Right.
those 6 years now that I've been out of the church, I've bought a house, I bought a new car, I started a YouTube channel. I, doors have just been opening up for me. I've
Right.
been in a successful relationship. Like
That's that spirituality
Mhm.
that's a spirituality
that
manifesting
don't
stuff that
say
I
you
didn't know
got
I
to
could have.
suffer in order to be spiritual. Right.
I'm supposed to suffer. Not I'm not supposed to have all
No.
these things. You're supposed to get those, when you get to heaven. And it's
Mhm.
like, well, why I gotta wait? Why can't I have the things now? What's wrong
Right.
with having things now? And then why is it? Because then they also equate to having material things as a bad thing. Like you're after the material things. Now you're after that type of life.
Oh, that's
Money
not
is the root of all evil. No, money is the root of all evil to people who are broke. And I'm
thank
not trying to out here
Right.
being broke.
Right.
No, the
And it
love
all
of money
depends on
is the
why
root
you
of
want
all
those
evil.
things. If you
you.
want those things just so you can show people you have a big house, or you want those things just to show other man, right? If you buying into material things for the approval of man, then I don't believe spiritually is for the right reasons. But if
Mhm.
you want a great house to provide a great environment for your children and their friends and to be able to house all the love in your relationship and all those types of things, then and when you think abundantly, abundance comes to you. And you have to be abundant in order to be of service to anybody else. Because if you always suffering, how you supposed to help your sister over here who's suffering? Oh, I forgot the church said bring her to the church. They're gonna help her like they helping you. So y'all can
Mhm.
suffer in silence.
Mhm.
I
And then another thing too, like I said before, um, it was always just kind of pushed into our brains that we are nothing without Christ. And
Mhm.
so like I said, I took that as I'm nothing. I don't have nothing. I'm not anything without God. And it's like, but then I took that like literally because when I ask, when you tell me something, I'm going to take it and I'm going to apply it to my life. So now I'm thinking, okay, well, I can't do this without God. So now my faith is kind of wavering. So what move should I make then? Because I don't want to be making the wrong moves. And it's like, you know what? I had to come to myself, like, you know what? I can't rely on, let me not say I can't rely on God. I can't keep wavering in what I said I was going to do. If I'm going to put something out there in the atmosphere, then I need to trust that that thing is going to happen. So, but when I was in Christianity, I was always, okay, I'm gonna put this out here, but I'm also scared. I don't know if that's going to happen for me because I'm nobody. I don't think that's going to happen for me. Maybe it might happen for somebody else, but it's not going to happen for me because I'm just not that strong. I don't have that belief.
Right.
But like I said, when I came out of it, whatever I said I wanted, I got it. And it's just that simple. And like I said in one of my videos, you have to learn how to change your mindset. Whatever you want, you can have. And if you keep saying that thing over and over and over again, it's going to manifest because you've been saying it and you've been drawing that stuff to you. So,
and because your steps are going to be ordered towards that thing. When you get up in the morning, your actions are going to be in alignment with that thing you keep saying that you want. So that's why when you say and are honest with yourself about what you want, why you want it, and your feelings are sincere. And it's not, me and Dre was talking about this a couple of days ago, talking about your subconscious, right? That it doesn't matter what you're saying to people. What matters is what you believe subconsciously to yourself. Those thoughts that you have and not just the words coming out of your mouth. Because if you're saying that one day I'm a get a house, right? And if you're saying that, but your actions aren't ordered in that direction, I'm gonna get a house, but I ain't paying my rent.
Right.
I mean, it's like, okay, well, or I'm gonna get a house, but I feel like I should drive a Mercedes when I can't really afford it, when I could be driving a Toyota and stacking some cash so I could buy the house. Your steps have to be ordered in that direction. And so subconsciously, it's not that you're not getting the house because you're not saying you don't want it. It's because you're not getting the house because subconsciously, that's not really your main want. Your main want was the car you bought.
Right.
Or your main want is to show your friends that you got money, and maybe they don't care about your house. Maybe they care more about the car you drive. And so your steps was ordered to the car. That's why you got the car and not the house. Your subconscious has to be on point with wherever your heart is, and then things come together.
Right.
They really do.
Things not going to come together just because you want. You also have to work at it.
Yes.
Like you said,
yes.
You're not paying your rent. Like the universe will start it, the universe will finish it, but you got to work the middle.
Yes.
You got to be the one to put.
You got to work the middle. I like that.
That's
You got to work the
I
middle.
had to learn, like, because church will have you believing that it's almost magical.
Yes.
Or it's some type
It's
some
gonna come right.
It'll come right then. This is gonna drop out of the sky and it's gonna be yours.
Right.
$1 million.
Like I'm gonna send you your magic holy water.
$1 million.
You don't get one of the magic cloths that they be having on in the middle of the night. Boom. $5,000 came in the mail. Right.
Yeah.
So one of the last questions that I kind of have, I don't know if Andrea have more questions, but either of you, did the experience, do you think it made you stronger? And what, if anything, would you do differently? Now that you guys both seem like you're on the other side of those mountains, per se. You know what I mean?
Did the experience make me stronger? You know what? It made me stronger because I promised myself that I wouldn't let nobody tell me what to do, or how to do it, and what to wear, what my hair is. I just promised myself when I left home and left that husband too, when we got a divorce, I'm not letting nobody control me, tell me how to dress. I'm beautiful in my own way, and I'm just not, I'm gonna do what I want to do. If that means I'm gonna have sex tonight, I'm gonna have sex tonight. If that means I'm gonna go on a plane and meet a man on a plane, I'm gonna do it, and I don't have no regrets. Period. Why should I? I don't live in life regrets. And I told my mom, I said, I'm gonna be that woman who got them kids, but I'm gonna still travel. I'm gonna be that woman who got them kids, and I'm gonna still do me. So,
Because it was time. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like it's made me stronger as well and helped me be more confident and sure of myself because for a long time I didn't feel like that. I was, like I said, I was felt really insecure because one, of the color of my skin, two, because I was a big girl, still am, both, still
Proud
got
of
dark
it.
skin. I
big
mean,
girl,
Bang
very
it.
proud of it. Um, but it helped me to be more comfortable in my sexuality. It helped me to be more comfortable in my spirituality. So yeah, I feel like I am a lot stronger. If I were to do something different, it would be to have left long time ago and not be afraid of
Mhm.
yeah,
the consequences behind it.
yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Shanita, I appreciate we having this conversation, girl. You know I love you, Shanita. You're my girl, and I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you. I mean, keep doing your thing.
Yes.
Keep doing your thing, and your channel is growing. And you go. I played the playlist twice last night for you because
Everybody, she got a bomb jazz playlist.
yeah,
Go just turn it on tonight while you go loftily into your dreams of
yeah.
tomorrow. Go on and turn on her little live where she got all the smooth jazz playing.
Ooh, jazz for your
Smooth
listening.
If I,
jazz.
if I don't tell you again, happy birthday, girl.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, Queen
I'm going live
Shanita.
tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
So for my
Be
birthday
over
live,
there.
so please feel free to come by. Anybody who's in the chat, there are 12 amazing people here right now. But if you watch the replay before tomorrow, please come by
Come
and have
through.
fun. Bring
Yes.
your drinks, bring your positive attitudes, because we're gonna have fun. Y'all know I like to have fun. So whatever that is, I'm gonna have
Good.
music playing. I might get flagged, but I don't care because it's my birthday. We're gonna turn up.
Thank you
So
so much. Thank you so much, Shanita, for having
I
for
love it.
here, and thank you for taking the questions. You said any question was off limits, and there wasn't no questions off limits. So I appreciate you giving me this interview. I really appreciate we having this conversation.
thank
So
you
we
so much
love
for
you.
having me. I appreciate it. This was a
Okay,
good conversation.
it sure was. Bye
Yes.
bye.
All right.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
See you
Bye.
tomorrow.
Chat. Thank you, real mamas, for staying and unbothered Mimi for doing the chat.
Doing
And
the moderating. They were great.
anybody in the chat, please go subscribe to Real Mamas because she's close to her 1,000. We trying to get her over her 1,000 so she can get her community ball. And we love
Yes, that's
her.
our two missions right now.
Yeah.
Shanita monetize and Real Mamas over her 1,000.
So she can get her community wall. And oh my girl and Dang Define too. We just trying to get her to her 1,000 too. She's got great content and she does wonderful makeup. Okay. So thank
Hey.
you guys.
And she
Guys,
been giving us life in the chat. She said, "Wonderful show, ladies."
Is
thank
this her?
yes, yes, that is her.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Yes,
her.
her mama's real problems.
Yep.
I'm subscribed. Got my
Boom.
bell on.
Okay,
Bam.
All
Ding,
right.
ding, 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 ding.
thank you. Okay, bye, you
All
guys.
right.
All right.
Bye.
Have a great night.
You too.